Hello, my name's Imagine, the host of Master of Your Crafts podcast, learning from leaders who are continuously inspired, passionate, and driven to align with their soul purpose, sharing their gifts to bring healing to others. The music is composed by Rebecca Everett.
Today is episode number 18, where we will talk to Faith Amour, an award-winning recording artist and songwriter steadily emerging in the North American jazz scene. Her warm vocals and charming personality brought audiences into her world of pure musical delight in Canada, the US, and Europe. She has sung in the presence of the First Lady of Guyana and the former Governor-General Adrienne Clarkson, and performed alongside Canada's own Rich Brown, Dave Restivo, and Robi Botos. She has paid tribute to the jazz vocal heroines Ella Fitzgerald, Nancy Wilson, and Nina Simone. She's in demand as a composer, conductor, and as a feature vocalist for clubs, theaters, jazz orchestras, corporate and private events. She released her first jazz album, Classic Live, in November of 2020. Through it all, she aims to inspire those she meets with a message of love and boundless hope for the future. Hello and welcome to Faith. How are you, Faith?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited for our conversation.
Likewise. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to learn about all the magic that you've created. It intrigued me even further, especially doing what you do in the musical field. So that intrigued me, and it really put me in a space to wonder and curiosity to learn more about your industry and what inspired you to get to this place, to be in the jazz, songwriting, artistry, creating, composer. What inspired you to be in that place?
A lot of things. That's loaded. Thank you. I would say when I was about 6 years old, I'm told, I was part of a Christmas program, and my god sisters were having the two lead songs. And somehow by the end of the song, I was no longer in the choir, but I was up front singing with them. And maybe I was a little younger, because 6 seems a little old to do things like that. But it seemed like I was drawn to performing and drawn to using my voice. It was definitely the one thing that I knew would bring joy to other people, and also give me chances to sing and to be in front of people. And so having that kind of beginning, I was in choirs, and I had lots of opportunities to sing in church. That was kind of where it was all nurtured and fostered, the piano playing and then the singing. I found that was kind of my home. That was kind of my world. And so I just continued doing that. But being raised in a conservative Christian family, seeing other people do singing R&B and shaking your booty and just going, just going all the way, these were things that were off limits to me completely. The style of music that spoke to me, that allowed me to express, but in a way that those within and outside of the church could kind of accept, was actually the style of jazz. It was always about kind of a pure love, and the melodies were just so beautiful, and the harmonies so incredibly intricate and a little complicated, and really spoke to me. And so that's why, long story short, I came into the jazz sphere for the purity of it, for the beauty of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it must be really encouraging as a 4, 5, 6-year-old to say, hold on, you don't actually belong in the choir anymore, but you should be up front and on center stage. So what was that moment like for you?
I wish I could say I remember that moment. But I think different experiences as a child let me know that I could do this on my own, that I didn't necessarily need others to be part of the music making experience, although that's when I love it the most. One of my favorite things in the world is 3-part harmony, or 4-part, as many parts as possible, where there's just that gelling of the thirds, of the fourths, of the different notes that you decide go together and the universe decides go together as well. There's just something really magical about vocal harmonies. And so sometimes I miss that when I'm performing live as a solo artist, because it's very much, a one-person show, and then there's the support of the band and whoever else. But there is definitely something magical about making vocal music in harmony with others. People aren't around, it's nice to do it on your own. I liked to sing high and sing low and make choices without having to check with others. So there was something about that was very appealing too, for sure.
Yeah. It's creating a balance. It's creating that flexibility in who we are, right? Be it we don't want to be able to do the same thing all the time, even though we love it and it feeds our soul.
Exactly.
So having that balance, I think, is crucial. So sometimes you can do harmony and sometimes you can solo. It's
absolutely. When there's those opportunities, I take them in all the configurations possible. It's variety, the spice of life. I'm a big believer in that.
That's right. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So you've had some profound experiences as a child and as a young adolescent and as a young adult, which brings about different experiences and images and representations about yourself and who you are, and what you believe to be about yourself. Do you feel that those components define who you are right now?
I think they're definitely a part of the building blocks of who I am. Absolutely. I know that my knowledge of how good an ear I have, or my ability to do certain things musically, have been fostered in the feedback I got as a child. And so a lot of that I do continue to hearken back to, in understanding who I am as a musician today. I know that they absolutely gave me opportunities to see the world differently. For example, I was in this choir called the Bach Children's Chorus of Scarborough, and I grew up in Scarborough, and so this was a choir where it was very intensely like theoretical. So we would do a lot of music theory before and after the rehearsal. We would do a lot of ear training to make sure that we could hear things that I guess the untrained ear wouldn't necessarily hear. And we had opportunities to perform in different places in the world and in different languages. So that upbringing of, hey, sing this one in Spanish, okay? And now this one in Russian, okay? This one in German. Those experiences, even as a child, opened up the ability to even connect with people who speak these other languages in different countries. I might sing something that I learned, French cantique, when I was 8 years old. Opens up the communication between myself and people in Switzerland and France. And so there are always different pieces of that history that inform how I navigate life today. At the same time, in my younger years, there was a lot more emphasis on uniformity in creation of music and in being able to collaborate with others. And today, uniformity is not how you stand out as an artist. It's not how you carve a new path. And so I've had to let some of that go. I've had to find a unique voice that wasn't encouraged when I was younger, in my younger experiences, and explore things I hadn't, so that I can just add some more depth to what it is I bring to the world today. And so that's been a different experience, realizing there had to be a shift in how I saw myself, not as one of the group, but as someone who's bringing something that only I can bring. And and that's a continuing process. But I'm really excited to delve into that even further as the months and years go on.
Very courageous for you to almost step away from the pack, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Of being in this comfortable, nourishing, supportive environment as a collective. And now it's, to a certain degree, you can relate it to as another family.
A family of weirdos, maybe. Where a family of, it's like the people that I'm connecting with today are definitely those who kind of one of a kind. They're their own diamond in the rough. There's understandings. It's a different way of getting to know someone, because there isn't the pre-existing, okay, I know where this is going to go. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to create. That doesn't exist when people are saying, I'm not trying to do what everyone else is doing. I'm not trying to look how everyone else is looking. Different conversations, interesting experiences for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is an interesting journey, no doubt, when you come into a place of familiarity. Even from the standpoint of you learning all these historical, musical compositions in all these different languages, and you travel around the world and you would sing them in unison in another dialect, in another language. So to me, the curiosity goes to being accepted, so to speak, in that community of Spanish speakers, French speakers, in any other German speakers, whatever other languages that you have learned these compositions in. So being accepted in that form and in that community just through the instrument of composition is really intriguing and very powerful in itself, to show this is how much power music really does have.
It's phenomenal. They often say something to the effect of music has no language. Like essentially there are no barriers when it comes to music. They say the same thing about love oftentimes.
Yes, that's right.
And I do think that there are similarities or connections in music and love, but that's a whole other conversation. It's a vehicle. It's a medium. I believe there's some form of magic in it, whatever magic means. It does allow you to foster connection, and then add to the music the transparency of language, in that if I'm speaking to someone who doesn't speak English in English, perhaps in music they'll still appreciate what's happening, but the transparency of what's actually been said in their language, that just takes it to another level. So there's the Christmas piece that I wrote called To This World a Stranger, and it's currently being sung by different groups around the world, and it's very exciting. And one of the elements that I added to it for that reason of connection was 4 languages in that one piece. So it is in English. There's a French verse, there's a Spanish verse, and there is a Swahili verse. And that was written just after I'd come back from Kenya. And honestly, the element of language connected to the music is what has given it its wings and has really drawn people to it. Not necessarily because they actually speak that language, but because it, for Anglophones, I guess, it kind of gives a world experience, if that makes sense. So it works both ways, to either bring transparency to the one who doesn't speak the language, or to, I guess, add some form of vitality to those who are learning it or are hearing it for anew. So yeah, I believe in that connection, and I'm a huge fan of language and music.
How inspirational is that? Faith, I've just got to say, like, really, how inspirational is that? You wrote one piece with 4 languages? Like, come on. That's amazing.
Thanks. Thank you. It's don't ask me to speak all of them in extended periods of time, but yeah, I was really excited to add that element, and I'm glad it's being received well.
It's beautiful. I can't wait to listen to that. Now you really piqued my interest for that, for sure.
Cool.
So I'm excited. So with all that you know and all that you've seen, do you feel that these elements of the connection, the community, the resonance, the composure, the feeling of music, and the connection that it brings not only to yourself, but to others, does it define who you are as Faith?
That does. Yes. My inclination, my desire, my passion to sing, to create music that makes people feel, especially makes people feel good. Sometimes it's just a matter of making people feel. That is what has kind of been the guiding point of my life this year. Over the last 8 months, the music I've been writing has primarily been so that people feel. It's been connecting to what's been happening in the news, the different events of the summer, the challenge of falling asleep at night without anxiety, coming back to yourself. Since some people have actually listened to what it is they're actually wanting to do with their lives and letting other voices speak, I feel like there's been a stillness for those who haven't had terrible hardship. There's been a stillness, there's been an opportunity to go inside more so than before. They've taken that opportunity. The words are, don't be afraid to come back home to you, back home to yourself. Come back to the truth, leave everything else. Where is the girl you used to know? Where is the boy who used to dream? What is that song that took you high above the sea of ugly things? Find her, find him, be again. That song didn't exist before this time, and I don't know if it would have come to me any other time. It was a 1-hour process. Heard it in my head, recorded it, and shared it with the world because it was so timely and it was so real. It was very little contrived about it. And so that song touched a lot of people. And I know that in the midst of all the different ways of creating music, of performing old jazz songs or classic French chanson or whatever not, it's still important for me to get down to the kernel, to the seed of what's right now. It's this moment. And so I know that that is part of my reason for being. That's something that I can't negate, and it's something I can't keep to myself because that's not why I'm here. Yeah.
So beautiful. How that one piece is short, that's sweet, but yet so potent and timely for this current time that we have. What a beautiful insight, a beautiful reflection on who you are.
Thank you.
To be able to receive those words, welcome them, and nurture them into a composition that is going to feed the souls of so many other people.
Thank you, Niranjan. I'm blessed to have received it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when that came about, came through, channeled through, whatever you want to call it, what happened to you in that process? Where was your shift, your transition, your change?
I'm finding myself listening less to the voices outside of me as well. When I can remember when I was in my childhood room, when I was maybe 8 or 9, I had gotten the songwriting bug, and I had this little white cassette tape, and I would record onto some kind of tape player. Dating myself, this is, I don't know, the 90s. And it was fun, the little red record button you could press down at the same time as play. And and I would record songs of just what I was thinking and feeling. That's who I am. Like, I am a in the moment songwriter. In a lot of ways, I've been playing it safe in particular areas of career and relationship. And that song in and of itself, it's like, where is that girl you used to know that would write what she felt, would put it out in a different way to the world? We didn't have the internet back then. I mean, I'm old.
No, you're not.
Back when.
No, you're not.
But it's like, there's just a certain element of, I just need to do what I do and not worry about the people who this is for. Is who it's for, and they will find it if I let them know it's there. I think that's what a lot of people, especially including me, get held back by, thinking that, okay, well, these people that are in my sphere, they need to approve of what I'm doing. They need to celebrate and support it. But the people that are already in your sphere aren't necessarily the people that need what you give. It could be that they are just connected to your past. They are appreciative of who you are, but not necessarily what you create. And that's okay. That's one of the hardest things to accept as a creator, that the people in your world aren't necessarily who your, I guess, in business terms, your target market.
Yes.
Or your people, your tribe. There's a purpose for everyone. And maybe theirs is to just be your family, to be your colleagues. So this song helps to bring me back to who I am in that respect of creation, and not being about the outside voices, not being about what you've been allowing to yourself to hear, because sometimes you need to hear new things, you need to create new things, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's often giving yourself the permission. That's the hardest part, right?
Whew. And it's not like you have to go to a special office somewhere to give yourself permission. It's you're right there. And it's a choice we make every day. And sometimes it's like one big shift. And for me, I'd say it's micro shifts, because it's the daily choosing you. It's the daily loving your future self into being. And that's where the magic is. It's not always one cataclysmic lightning bolt. And so accepting that as well is really a bit important for me.
Yeah. What a great realization that there are baby steps, that it is in increments, that life will show you lessons and life will show you where to be guided to. But sometimes we miss those lessons because there's so much going on in the outside world.
It's a lot of noise.
There's a lot of noise, right? And the conditioning that we have, that the outside world is the place to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who wants to be inside?
Some people, but not most. And some need to embrace the inside I'm definitely embracing the inside.
Yeah.
I know that you are as well.
Yeah. We all are in our own ways.
Mm-hmm.
Some are more courageous of taking a stride and a huge step in it. Other people are just willing to dip in their toe. And that's all they can do with at that moment. And that's okay too. Because everybody has their own path and their own purpose, right?
No judgment.
Absolutely. Yeah. So do you feel this is your calling to channel, to share, to create and connect with people in this way?
I love the idea of a calling. Mm-hmm. I feel that sometimes there's more than one calling. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that this is one of them for sure, to create a world of connection by singing songs that make people feel, by creating songs that make people feel. I think another one of my callings is to help people to do things that they perhaps haven't been able to do themselves, using either my passion for it or my unique abilities. And that might not necessarily be through music, but it's still something that drives me. And I think that when you have a passion that kind of goes beyond reason, like it's not self-serving, it's kind of sometimes not self-sabotaging, but kind of goes against your own personal interests. I think that's also something to notice as a calling. Some impulses are just carnal, but some are just deeper than that. So I feel that I may have a number of callings, but musically speaking, and for the larger world, I think creating music for people so that they feel that it's a huge one.
And I'm sure the world is going to be truly grateful for all that you do contribute and all that you do share. What do you feel are some of these attributes that have created you in being in this space, learning these life lessons and experiences of being in a community and then not being in a community, being uniform and now being unique? What does that look like in terms of the attributes connected to your purpose of who you are?
I would say pretty courageous. It could be, I think for the most part, it's good. I have lots of fears, but I know that in order to do what I'm here to do, I have to push past them. I absolutely have to be resourceful and find ways to make happen things that I might not have seen happen before. So there's a bit of a pioneering spirit in that in me as well. I mean, sometimes it's nice to just follow the template and, go by the recipe. When I can't find the recipe, then I have to create my own. And having a drive to make it to the end to have that cake or that fully realized cake that I've wanted to create, it definitely moves me towards that end. So yeah, that's a lot of things. So courage to do things I haven't seen before, that pioneering spirit, a faith in God that regardless of what happens, I'm going to be okay. Like whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. That's really important. And then I've been told, so I believe that what I've created thus far has brought people joy. And there has to be some element of that in me to be able to transmit it. So I'm going to say one of the attributes that helps me to connect to my purpose and to actualize the things that I'm trying to create is having, doesn't make any sense, but there's a joy that I have. And I'm grateful for that. Grateful for each day that I have on this earth to just be alive and also create things that bring people joy. So Yeah, I'd say those are some of my attributes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting how we get into the space of doing both. We talked about it earlier in the conversation of having that balance, the balance of singing in harmony versus singing solo.
Mm-hmm.
And the balance of either following a recipe or not.
Yeah.
And then the other phrase that comes to mind is your perspective of life is the spice of life. Right?
Definitely.
All these components are huge elements of spice and pepper and salt and sweetness.
Don't forget the paprika.
And the
You need a little, yes. Or sometimes the smoked paprika. It's honestly, I imagined my life growing up that it would be, working in one particular job, perhaps in a cubicle, because literally that's all they used to show on television. Everyone working in the same context, repeatable, predictable day-to-day life. And there was something just really appealing about that. And then I look to my life today, and there's very little that is predictable, repeatable, expected. And I love that. And I can't see it being any other way. Even just for my own sense as an artist and my mental health, I need that variety. I need newness from time to time, just to feel like, things are moving along. And so when I say variety being the spice of life, like I'm trying to become a gourmet vegan chef. And the only way to be any kind of vegetarian vegan is spices. That's what I'm learning.
That's right.
Very new, but that's what I'm learning.
And that's very true. Yes. Using all the other elements that we never even thought of, all the other elements. And even from your training perspective is using our ordinary senses of the ear and sharpening them and honing it and really tasting it in its flavor, just as you do with paprika. In a food where there is less other complementary flavors. So having that concentrated focus on it, it not only makes you appreciate it more, but it makes you possibly relish in it on a much deeper level.
Where our attention goes, the love grows, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very new. I'm going to put it out there to the use of spices that are complementary. Sometimes you're not using a recipe, you think this will work, and not really.
Yes.
But I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to go there, and not being afraid to fail too badly and then get up and try again. That's really important for any kind of moving forward. I'd say fail early, fail fast, learn, and then keep it moving, because then you learn and then you grow.
Absolutely.
Playing it safe is easy, but it's safe, and it often keeps us in the same place. So
keeps us in that little cubicle doing the same old, right?
So I've heard.
Well, unfortunately I did experience for a little while, but then the spices of life got too loud for me, so I came out of it.
That's good.
So we talked about your intentions with your music is to share the love, for allowing people to feel, to truly drop into a space in their inner being and feel. Has that been a component of your life? Maybe how you was raised, to the people around you in your sphere? That's your lens in which how you look at life? Or are there other components and complexities involved with your intentions around your craft?
I wouldn't say that my surroundings, community had necessarily been one that encouraged kind of sitting with your feelings, exploring them, talking about them. That is a relatively new thing for me to explore for myself and to encourage others to do. As someone who leads others in finding what it is they're here to do, I think it's important, whether it's in the form of starting to listen to yourself through meditation or listening to your creator through meditation, whether it's the journaling. I think there is very little that we can't uncover about ourselves if we sat with ourselves long enough. And I think that sometimes we need a nudge.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that poetry can do, that a good speech can do, a word, a sermon, or a song. So I'm delving further in. This piece that was my first in a very long time opportunity to, I guess, spiritually channel that concept. And it wasn't something that I searched for, it came. And so I'm going to be exploring the seeking out and the being open to receiving what's downloaded to me, because I think both are valid. Looking for answers and then being open to hearing the answers when they come. Yeah.
And trusting, having the trust and having the faith. And we talked about it. It's very courageous of you to go to this space.
When it's necessity, it's not courage anymore. It's just, you got to do it. Right now, it's not something I need to do. It's something that I want to do. I believe that I'll have more impact as I go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we all have more impact the deeper we go, and then the more we share what we learn, because some things are just for us, and some things we can make the world better with by actually sharing. The thing there is knowing which is which,
Mm-hmm.
because not everything that we learn for ourselves is to be shared. Not everyone is going to have the same revelation or benefit from it. And yeah, so it's a matter of knowing which learnings are for the world and which are just more of a personal, spiritual learning experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a journey in itself.
Yes. But fortunately, day by day, we can keep taking steps on it. Like we were talking about, it doesn't have to be the cataclysmic lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're saying, trusting that, yes, this is something for me, and embracing it and not letting it float by. Because you know how sometimes you have an aha moment, and then somehow it's no more aha. You forget it. I have to audio record things or write them down right away.
Yes.
Because moments of either inspiration or God giving you a word or whatever it is, they have to be cherished. They have to be held on to. Just like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, don't want to lose those
Nuggets of wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of wisdom in life, so it's not a matter of saying, okay, I'll take this, I won't take that. Just like bring it all on and see what is for right now and what might be for later.
Yes.
But hold on to it regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same token as we need our lessons to evolve and grow,
Mm-hmm.
you know, those little whispers, those little nudges and nuggets that happen. when the wisdom comes through and we don't listen to it, but we keep asking, I think that's the same principle. They get louder and louder too.
Yeah, I think it's always remarkable when we are taught the same lessons more than once. As you were saying, have the courage to believe it the first time and embrace it and implement it once we get it. Because sometimes the third or fourth time, there are things that could have happened in between all those other opportunities that we learned, we knew. And so that's something that I'm working on, believing the thing that I learned the first time and moving forward, moving fast, and getting the benefit of that lesson the first time and not the fourth or 10 years later.
All in due time.
And then again, let's go. Just the balance there. I'm on the let's go. Come on. We know this. Let's go.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes we need a little bit more time to nurture that space, to create the space for allow that wisdom to show through. And other times it's already clear and we're like, come on already. I got a clear platform here. Let's go. You've cleared a lot of your platform and you're clearing space for more goodness to come through. And in that process, you've learned a lot of lessons along the way as a family, as a community, the connection of language and just being a unique individual. And now stepping out on your own in your own space, in who you are. What is it you have to bring as a unique soul having this experience? You have lots of accolades with all you have done, performed with other people, inspired by lots of these big names, Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone. And so you've even performed for the First Lady of Guyana. And even that, all those things and all those wonderful experiences that have allowed you to grow. What's next for this beautiful plate that is available for more goodness? What does that look like for you?
For me, it looks like trying new things and sharing them with the world in new ways. I am exploring the digital space, as so many of us are this year, and trying to find the best way to create and bring people along the process of the creation, interacting with new people around the world through the internet, through YouTube in particular. I want to collaborate with artists from different countries and learn from them, create music with them, give them opportunities to be exposed to a Western audience, also be able to kind of blend influences. So a lot of recording is in store, a lot of reading of poetry that I haven't delved into as yet. Writers like Rumi, Rilke, just kind of a little bit of mystic poetry, in order to get not only the wisdom within them, but to get my own inspiration to create something that is relevant to who I am and how I see the world in my own words. I'm really excited about that. There is a strong connection that I have to the aesthetic of Brazilian music. I'm not sure if it's because of the proximity of Brazil to Guyana. They're bordering countries. But I've always had just some kind of, I think, unusual, strange yen for the music of that entire country. And I haven't had a chance to delve into it. I was hoping to, visit not just Rio, but Bahia sometime soon. And I don't really make travel plans anymore.
Yes.
Just a personal choice.
Yes.
No outside reasons for that whatsoever.
Not at all.
Not at all. So I'm realizing a lot of people are kind of landlocked like myself and maybe open to more intercultural, intercontinental collaborations and experiences and just like cross-pollination. So I'm excited to get that going in early 2021. There's a lot that I want to do in actually making full songs and full ways of connecting with those languages that I spoke of that that were in the other song. So I speak French pretty fluidly. So doing something where it's for French audiences, so whether that's in Afrique or if that's in one of the French-speaking European countries, having something that I give that is fully transparent because it's fully in their language. Or in Espanol, I will probably leave the languages there because all others are atrocious. There's always a lot of ideas bubbling up, but for me, the key is one thing at a time, focusing, getting it rolling, and then moving on to the next. I just released a jazz album 2 weeks ago called Classics, and I'm very excited about it.
Yes.
It has an accompanying live DVD that I stream online. That was the kind of culmination and almost the end of a chapter of an era of the classic jazz side of what I create in terms of production. So it gives me the freedom to say, thank you. Thank you, jazz. Thank you, jazz community in Toronto. Thank you, jazz community in radio, online. This is my gift to you. And move on to this new, more explorative, more colorful, more innovative, and not really sure what's coming next. Surprises chapter of my musical life and career. So it's a ride. We're on a ride in this next little while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm excited, Faith. Oh my gosh, it sounds like you have so much deliciousness in store.
Spices.
Paprika at its potencies.
I'm in. And garlic. Never forget the garlic. Never forget the garlic.
It's in its full range. Just how you are in your creative, in your exploration, in your vulnerability to be able to open up to the world and take that big stride into the unknown by following your heart and following the feeling why you are here.
I would not be able to go day by day without knowing that I was doing something that was towards that calling. It's essential to keep it moving forward, and it's essential to make the impact that I want to make in the world.
I love it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Faith. I have really devoured this conversation. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to have this conversation and delve deep into unknown territories and exciting new adventures for you. So thank you for sharing so courageously.
Thank you so very much for having me. It's been wonderful. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you again.
I'm Naranjan, and you've been listening to Master of Your Crafts podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and join me next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.